I may be a little bit biased, but my mother is an amazing cook. Unlike most boys my age, I grew up loving to help out in the kitchen. Although many chefs are men, the majority of the people working in the kitchen are women. I'll show you how you can start cooking in the kitchen. Todd English, a famous chef, once said, "I like the energy of cooking, the action, the camaraderie. I often compare the kitchen to sports and compare the chef to a coach. There are a lot of similarities to it. We can play coach in the kitchen by learning some plays of the sport, or basic kitchen appliances. Then we can learn how to cook a Spanish omelet. Just as my mother's an amazing chef, you can be one too." So first, we're going to go over some basic kitchen appliances. Here we have our mixing bowl, our two frying pans that we will use, a cutting board, a kettle, our oven, also a knife block to cut up the vegetables here, as you can see, a knife, and then we have some assorted spices and also some spatulas in the kitchen sink. So we're going to go over what we have as our ingredients. First, we have eggs over here. Then we will go over to here, which we have potatoes, onions, parsley, which we will chop up, also some very delicious cheddar cheese and extra virgin olive oil, and also salt and pepper. First step to cooking a Spanish omelet, we will cut up our parsley. And you need to cut up the parsley very thin so that it can cook easily and throughout the Spanish omelet. Also, once you cut it off of the stems, you want to do this action with the parsley so that you can cut it even finer. Now we will begin to cut our potatoes. You want to cut it in half and then place them together lengthways. So then you can cut like this, and you can cut them very thinly because they need to be cooked throughout the Spanish omelet. And also this is more efficient. The next step in the process is cutting up onions. Although, when cutting onions, you might get a little teary-eyed. I have a tip for you so you can stop crying when you cook onions. You should chew bubble gum when you cut the onions. The acidic gases that come off of the onions are counteracted by the bubble gum when you chew it out in the open because it absorbs it. So you want to cut your onions very thin once you cut them in half, like this. Cut. The next step in cooking a Spanish omelet is to cut the nice tasting cheddar thinly so that it can melt on top of the omelet when you cook it. And as you can see, I'm cutting it very thinly. Cut. Next step in the process is getting your frying pan, putting it on the stove, and then also getting your extra virgin olive oil and then spreading it quite generously out on top of the frying pan so that it can act as a lubricant, so it doesn't get stuck to the frying pan. Now we will light the stove on and then scoop the onions that we previously cooked on into the frying pan. Then we will get the plate of potatoes that we previously chopped and also some other onions that we previously chopped before we filled. And we will put those on, and then we will get a utensil so that we can mix around and get the olive oil everywhere so nothing burns, so it can all be cooked and not just the ones at bottom and some are not on the top so they don't get cooked. We will leave this on for about 15 minutes on medium heat, and also we will stir throughout the 15 minutes occasionally. As our vegetables are cooking, we will now begin to crack eggs into this mixing bowl. Cut. Once you've finished putting all the eggs in the mixture, You might want to put salt and pepper on the mixture to make it extra delicious. I won't during this because I will put it on when we finish the omelets, and I also don't want to have too much salt and pepper. So then we will beat the mixture with a fork, like this. And you will consistently do this for about 5 minutes so that it can be a consistent orange-yellow color.
Okay.
These potatoes and onions are coming along nicely. Although, I might just want to put on a lid to make the potatoes softer and cook faster.
Sure.
Once you put the lid on, you're going to want to keep it like that for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
These potatoes and onions look quite cooked. Now, we're going to add the egg mixture that I previously beat with a fork. And we're going to add it all throughout the onions and potatoes. Now we're going to be adding the parsley that we previously chopped. We're going to be doing it throughout the mixture so that there can be a nice spreading of parsley everywhere. Since I'm cooking this for 4 people, I'm going to cut it into 4 quarters with a wider spatula, since I'm also going to use this spatula for flipping. Although it may not look pretty, it makes up for its deliciousness. Now that I have turned over the omelets, I'm going to sprinkle some cheese quite generously throughout the omelet so that the cheese can be melted over and taste very nice. Now, we're going to take the omelet, put it on the plate next to a sprig of parsley, and you are ready to go. That's a nice looking Spanish omelet. I hope you'd enjoyed my tutorial on how to make a Spanish omelet. It particularly goes well with hot tea. Bon appetit!